Well, I've done quite a fair few miles on this now, probably about 10 miles on this new Triumph Trident, and at the moment I can't say my impressions are entirely favourable. It's very revvy, and it feels, obviously all my comparisons are to much bigger bikes I've ridden and my T120, but it feels a bit gutless to me. I mean, it goes, but I don't know. I just come down a bypass there in 6th gear, doing about 7,000 revs. The damn thing's buzzing its nuts off. We're doing 68 miles an hour. So I know it's only like a 600, 675 something. I mean, I'm in 6 cog now on this back lane. And this is one of the other gripes, is that I keep finding that I'm having to change up and down the box almost constantly, and I never seem to be in the right gear. I'm always in too high a gear, so down into 5th, down into 4th, down into 3rd. Down into 2nd. And the gear change doesn't have any feel to it. I don't like a clunky gearbox, but I do like to feel it click into gear, and it doesn't seem to on this particular bike. You're never quite sure that it's gone in. But my biggest gripe, and it's only a minor thing, is the position of the indicator switch. For me, it doesn't fall naturally to my thumb. So I'm finding myself having to look down and grope for the damn thing, when you shouldn't really be having to do that kind of thing. And then there's no feel to that. So you're pushing it to turn right, and then you're thinking, have I pushed it? You're having to look down at the clock to make sure that the indicators are flashing. Last thing you want to be doing is ormy-gormy and looking at your bloody clocks at junctions and things like that. It barely moves, that indicator switch. You don't know whether you've activated them or not. Yeah, I think won't be a bad little bike for around town for commuting, but no, I wouldn't want to be riding it any great distance. See, I'm in 6th gear already on a back lane. You got to keep it buzzing. Not my idea of enjoyable riding, having to do some work all the time, having to keep thinking about things. What gear you're in, and it handles well enough. The suspension is a little bit basic, or at least it feels it at times. I've been over one or two speed bumps, and the front suspension seems to bottom out fairly quickly. I've not gone over them at any speed, only, you know, trundled over them at 24 mile an hour, something like that. So if you hit a decent pothole, I imagine you're going to get jarred up your arms a bit. Now, at least this bike's got a decent pair of mirrors on it that you can actually see something through. Oh, it seems perfectly happy just cruising around 40 to 50 miles an hour. Which I suppose can't be too bad, because it's not going to get you any speeding tickets or fines. It's a nice comfortable riding position anyway. Seat's comfortable enough, foot pegs are in a sensible place. Yeah, the suspension's a bit hard, it shakes you about a fair old bit. Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm finding it to be a little bit gutless compared to that 765 Street Triple. That's a much nicer machine. This is alright, and as I said earlier, probably good for commuting and just knocking about on, but I wouldn't want to be riding any great distances on it, even though it is comfortable, very comfortable. Suspension's a bit harsh, you get shook about a bit, and I find I'm constantly looking down to see what gear I'm in, because as I said, there doesn't appear to be any feel to the gear lever. It's difficult to tell whether it's gone in gear or not. And this switch here for the indicators, personally I'm finding it abysmal. It doesn't fall naturally to your thumb position, and I don't know, obviously it does move, but when you've got a glove on, it's difficult to tell whether it's actually you've actually turned them on or not. So again, you're constantly looking down at the clock to see, make sure you've activated the indicators. Now, just little things. Probably get used to them in time if you owned it, but I don't think I'd rush out to buy one, let's put it that way. Well, I'm in 6th gear, I'm doing about 5,000 revs, just over 60 miles an hour, and this seems to be the kind of speed that I find it comfortable at anyway. I mean, to go any faster than this, you're going to have to take it up to about 6,000 or 7,000 revs, which is going to be a bit like riding a bloody buzz bomb. Yeah, I really do think that extra 100 cc's in that Street Triple makes a big difference. This is a nice bike, but that's better. The brakes are all right. But they seem to lack a bit of bite. They're adequate for the speeds that you can comfortably go on this bike, I suppose. I can't say, in all honesty, that it excites me, this machine. It just seems functional and you know, does what it's built for, really. But I don't find it exceptional in any way. Yeah, I think the big difference between riding a Triumph Twin and a Triumph Triple, particularly a small triple like this, is the amount of gear changing you have to do, and the gears that you find yourself riding in. I mean, on the Twin, particularly my T120, it's rare that I put it in any gear above 4th, occasionally 5th, but it is occasionally, and 6th, well, that only gets used for motorway work. But of course, with these revvy little 3-cylinder jobs, you soon find yourself in 6th gear, even just on little windy B roads and back lanes. It's a completely different riding experience to a big Twin. Unfortunately, one I've kind of fallen out of familiarity with. It's taken me a while to get back into it on this small 3-cylinder bike. If you rev it and you flick up and down the gearbox, then there's not many problems. This digital clock, I've been having to play around with it when I stopped back in Clumber Park. Yeah, it's not bad. Displays all the information you want, particularly now I've got it on the fuel screen, which is telling me basically how much fuel I've got left, what my estimated range is, and it's constantly telling me what the MPG is. Now, it's very flickable, it's light, and you can just chuck it into corners as long as the road surface is good. As I say, the suspension's a bit rough at times. I think this Trident 660 would be a good first bike, because I can't imagine you could get yourself in a tangle with it. It doesn't accelerate quick enough or actually go quick enough. You never feel as though you're in a situation where you're not in control. Some bikes, yeah, there's so much power there that you can kind of they'll run away with you if you're not careful. But this is not going to run away with you. I finally got used to the clutch. It doesn't bite until the lever's fully out. Seems to be doing well on the old fuel consumption. I will have to put some in before I take it back, but It's not guzzling fuel. Throttle response is nice and smooth. You can tight corners and those little mini roundabouts, you get around them really smoothly, no lurchiness or anything. It's a shame that the clutch lever ain't got a cam adjuster on it, because I'm finding it quite a stretch, and with having to keep change up and down the whole time, making my fingers ache a bit. Well, I've just ridden through Chesterfield town centre, and this Trident's very well mannered in traffic. It's a doddle to ride. It's so light and steerable, and the throttle's smooth and everything. Perfect for in town. And now I'm getting more used to it. I'm finding that it's not such a bad little bike after all. My first impressions weren't good. Yeah, if you want it to go, you've got to get it above 7,000 revs, then it'll go. Not quite as gutless as I first thought, but you've certainly got to thrash the old engine. Well, I said earlier that I thought this would be a good starter bike for anyone who's going into motorcycling, a good first bike. And I think I'll still stand by that, because it will go, and it goes pretty well. But in order to make it really fly, you've got to wring its neck, and you're unlikely to do that accidentally and finish up hurtling off uncontrolledly. So yeah, I think it'll make a good first bike. The only other, I'm not impressed with the suspension at all, and I know this is Triumph's like budget model, and you can really tell it is.